Okay, I think we're live, guys. If you want to let me know if the audio's good and if you can hear me and if the screen and video's coming out pretty good. Kind of changed my layout a little bit round here. So, uh, kind of got the monitors pushed back a little bit more and kind of just playing with the setup a little bit. Kind of hoping I haven't broken anything, but let me know. And I'm just making sure I've got everything actually loaded and working a second. Cool. So, how is everybody this evening? Have you had a good Monday? Penny sharp as a kaiju. That'd be quite interesting. I'll do a couple of hellos. So we've got hello to Minecraft Transformers, Jack. Hi, welcome to the stream. Noxy, Justin. I know we've got Ben in there, Red Knight, Callahan 19. I think we had Alien Animations earlier. Oh, definitely a Monday feeling for a couple of people then. Hello, Stella Kitsune. For you those of you just joining, I've literally just started the stream. We've got a poll up for a rough idea of what we might do, and then depending on what wins in a minute or two, we're going to possibly do another poll with a couple of ideas, and then we'll get on to drawing the illustration. Hello, Tegan. Hello, Blue Lock. Yes, Red Knight, I know it's your birthday next Monday, so happy birthday in advance for that one. Sorry, I'm just shaking the pen at you. I put the camera here so it's not straight on like the normally it'd be over my monitor, but I've got off to the side so when I'm reading stuff or checking things, I can just look down at the sort of like tablet, look up, try and talk to you guys directly to answer your questions and that. But we'll see how it goes. You might also know there's a blank space beneath. I've moved the. Oh, I want to sort that because that's going to annoy me. I've moved the kind of the alert for those little pop-ups with the spinning icons. Move them to below because we haven't really got a theme for today's video. Justin's going to have a Netflix field day next month. You've got to find a couple good series on that to watch. Um, have I missed anything? No? Okay, I think we will have a look at this poll and we'll see what's winning. I think Venomizing something has won. So, should we give it one more minute? Noxie's come up with a couple of ideas. We've got Venomize the Scarlet King, Venomize Ghost Rider, a Kaiju SCP, a Kaiju. A few ideas. A Venomized Benny Sharp Kaiju. I'm guessing a lot of you have either seen something I haven't seen yet that my YouTube's not notified me about, or it hasn't come out yet. Um, Pop across this video maybe. Almost completed my Shiny Paradox collection. I just missing one from Scarlet and then I can move on to Violet. Nice. That's quite a good achievement actually. I'm nowhere near doing it. I haven't played that in absolutely ages and I do need to. Okay, so I think Venomizing something's one. So I'll end that poll. And we'll just create another poll and we will decide what we are venomizing. So, what? Nice. And I can't type. Right, I'm going to select four options from within these. So we've got okay, so we've got Vaputa. I butchered the name then, I expect. Made in this. Cheers, Alien Animations. Or Alan Animations. Alan? Alien? I've been saying Alien this whole time by misreading it on the small text. It's Alan Animations, isn't it? Well, I'm still going to call you Alien Animations because you're calling me Demp. Or Dempy, so nice. Million Abyss. Dio. I'm guessing Red Knight Dio is Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Um, I'm not sure about the Scarlet King. Which version? Because there's kind of like, well, actually, no, Scarlet King. So SCP-001's got like 3 different versions, and I know there's more than one Scarlet King one referenced. Um, Venomized Avatar logos. I'll be here all night. Venomized Loki, our Loki. Are you on about the Demon Cat version of Loki? Yeah, there's quite a few, and they all are 001. It's really confusing sometimes. Actually, I'm going to move this over so I'm a bit more centered because it's kind of bugging me a bit. Um, yeah, but Red Knight, I'm on about the demon that I drew, the demon cat version of Loki, or the actual normal Loki as a black cat that's venomized. Nexum venomized. Oh, I'm going to have to add that. Then I've got to remember how Nexum looks like. Xenomorph Kaiju versus Predator Jaeger. That I actually will. I'll save that, Ben. I've got a better idea of where to use that, which would be quite cool. Um, Venomizing Predator. Ooh, could be interesting. Um, uh, okay, let me. I need to find out how to split. Get rid of. Hello, Mr. E. How's it going? I will do Blitzo because in the list because Blitzo is quite a good one. Um, G1 Devastator. Oh, Minecraft Transformers. That'll take me ages to do. Oh, I'm tempted for that one. Oh, I can't do that one. I can't do that Minecraft. I'll tell you why. That's planned for a future episode when the multiverse story arc starts up again this year. Um, we've got all of the like Predacons venomized. We've still got to do the Dinobots, but I'm also going to have Devastator at some point being venomized in there. So I will save that one for that video because I'll be doing all 5. It is 5 for Devastator, isn't it? All 5 of the Constructicons venomized in that one. Galan19 says venomized Jolene from Bizarre Adventures. Darkest Night. Venomize myself. That'd be quite cool, but no. Did you know they introduced a non-binary Transformers in a recent Transformers cartoon? Did they? 6 Constructicons. Okay, I'll be doing 6 illustrations in that video. Thank you for correcting me, and I will be I'll be starting that way before I actually want to release that video. Okay, so we've got three so far on the suggestions. We've got Faputa from Made in Abyss, Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Blitzo. Um, I know what. Um, Venomized Demonica Darkstorm. Hey, MT's Tech Corner. Starscream from G1. Just throwing some stuff out there. A Venomized Joker, Scooby Doo, or maybe sort of less. Possibly. A Venomized Lantern. Animations, I have another request. What's your request? A Weeping Angel from Omen Heart. Wildmutt from Ben 10. Why not Venomized Wildmutt? Oh, I can only do this at options. Um, have I not actually done a Wildmutt on the channel, Venomized? I don't know if I've actually done Wildmutt Venomized on the channel before. Um, Let me just check that before I consider that as an option. I didn't realise that. I'm jumping into my Google Drive where I've got everything. The only one I've done is turning him into a demon. If that is the case, uh, who did I venomize then in the Ben 10 venomized video? Oh, I need to find that out. Give me a second, guys. I just need to check something. I just want to know which ones I've done because yeah, it's just kind of dawned on me. I don't actually remember which ones I've done. Is everything okay? Because I think my connection's dipped a bit. Can you hear me okay? Am I still moving on screen? Is it not? It's not broken. Look. Did you get the squiggly lines appearing just while we're waiting for this one item to load? Have the cat shoes. Well, I'm just want to look for. I know I did a Venomizing Ben 10 episode a while back. So I just want to filter by Ben 10 on my channel and just see what was actually in that one. Ben 10 Venomized. So in that video, I did. Galahad19 says, how about Venomizing Demonica Darkstorm? No, I won't do a narrator Venomized because you guys give me a brilliant idea for a video at some point, and it's going to be part of a community redraw, and your ideas with Nexum and Demonica are kind of going to be part of it, but it's going to be really, really, really. If I pull it off, it's going to be a really good idea. So I did Heat Blast, Ripjaw's Upgrade, and Cannonbolt. That's fine. So I can put that on the list. Okay, we'll go with these four. One I've never heard of before. I've seen roughly, but I've never done anything with before. So that'll be quite interesting. And then we'll start a Venomized piece because that can go down well. That can't go wrong, can it? But no, Galahad19, I'm going to be venomizing the narrators in a future video, or reintroducing them into the venomized bit from like the SCP's venomized, as well as do something with Demonica and Nexum, which should be quite interesting. Also, before you ask about this month's community redraw, it is dropping next Monday. I think Popcross's one's dropping at the same time. I have selected all of the ones that I'm going to be doing. I've started the story. I haven't done any of the drawing. I have a really cool idea in mind. Not sure if I'm adding a new narrator for this one or not. That could be a surprise. I haven't got that far. But I know what I'm going to do with this one, and it's going to be interesting. It's a possibly funny idea. If it works, if it doesn't work, but we'll see. Wildmutt is winning. Wildmutt always wins. Probably spelt Wildmutt wrong as well. Probably 1T instead of 2, isn't it? Oh no, it is 2. Cool. I will let this run long enough to let people actually do a selection of that, so. I didn't get the whole part of that Red Knight. I don't get the last bit. Dempsey, I really want to see your character's use of pop culture characters like the Monica and Homelander. Ben, I've put that on the list. I thought that was brilliant that you put that on there. Did anybody watch Popcross's live stream? I'm going to name drop on him now, slightly. He's not held to it, but I did suggest, and I'm like he might consider it, drawing his narrators as dragons and him drawing mine as dragons. I'm not holding him to it, but if he fancies it, I'm up for that. So if he does watch this at some point, just a confirmation, I'm up for that if you are. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be really good to actually do some more stuff. I've got some new stuff on the channel planned in. In fact, one or two of the things were suggested to him in the stream later on, and I was like, no, I want to do that first. But we shall see. I noticed a lot of people jumped in near the end, like partway through it. It's like I was saying hello to a few of you guys, just going hi, 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 hello. What are you doing here? Oh, well, this is late. Quite fun. And Galahad 19. I don't know if you missed my comment a minute ago, but it's. Oh, sorry, I misread that wrong. My apologies. You say, is your community redraw this Monday? Yes, it is. As I mentioned a minute ago, wouldn't happen to be the SCP redraw that you've been teasing, is it? No. The SCP redraw is a bit later on, and I'm quite glad about that because, as you know, Popcross's one is SCP related. And where it is funny when we both release something similar, that when we don't really plan any, talk or plan about what we're doing on the channels. I'm doing something slightly different on this one. It's another one, but the SCP one will be happening later on this year. The music, I haven't got the music set up at the moment. Do you guys want the music? Happy to do that. I don't know if the fan's really loud or not, or the voice. I've gone for a slight, just chucked things together to set it up. Okay, I think we've probably gone long enough to be able to see what we've got. Okay, it looks like it is going to be Wildmutt. So we will venomize Wildmutt. So now we're venomizing Wildmutt, which means we've got to start on a. You guys all know what Wildmutt looks like, but shall we get a reference image down to use? I do quite like the original Wildmutt design, so I'm going to pull that down, and then we're going to have some fun. Just want to see if I can save this image down. I really should have some references of these saved down. Seeing as I use them repeatedly, Ben 10's a big thing on the channel. I should actually save some local references to use. I've got a few open on this screen here, so I'll do this. I've got a couple references open here. I'm just saving one down so I can put it on the screen at the bottom, or somewhere on screen for you guys. Just because I think it'd be quite cool. Oh wow, that actually kind of worked. Image. I did try. I wanted to do something different. I did try to set up Sketchbook into the streaming software I use. The only problem I have is it's not picking up my display properly. Because it's not picking up display properly, I can't do it. I haven't forgotten, and one of my videos coming up in the next month or two is going to have 3 different softwares being used. Photoshop, Sketchbook, and the iPad Procreate. I'm going to do 3 different illustrations, basically in my style, same process, different programs, record the screens, chuck it all together, and see what happens. I do love using the iPad. There we go. Where do we want him? Do we want him over the screen? Do we want him down here? Do we want him covering my face? Maybe we'll stick him in the top corner for now. Or the bottom corner. I tell you what, we'll stick him in the bottom corner over here. No, top. Oh, why is it going to be where I'm not going to be in the way? I tell you what, we'll just plonk him right there. Because that way, at least, if I do the brushes... Oh, wait, that's better. I can just put him above everything. That's fine. I'll just leave him on the layer above everything and lock him in place for now. So we have our reference. So we'll be doing Wildmutt Venomized. Wait, is this the normal Wildmutt Venomized? I've got a picture of the normal Wildmutt. Sorry, my screen's just disappeared and reappeared, so hopefully I'm still here. We've got a reference picture, but I'm going to, for you guys to see, but I'm going to draw a different pose for Wildmutt, and it's going to be venomized. So I'm going to put a symbiote over Wildmutt. I've got an idea for a rather cool pose, and drawing symbiotes, I kind of know how they look, and the long, creepy tongue that they have, so I'm going to have some fun with this one. Are you going to do My Singing Monsters SCP video in the near future? I have thought about doing something with My Singing Monsters. I've never seen it before. It is an interesting concept. I wouldn't mind doing something with that. I need to do a bit of research. I have got something coming up with Ruby and something in the future because I got really inspired by that video. Hopefully you guys can tell that the lore's kind of been picking up a little bit on stories when I've been doing them, and the narrators are getting a bit more into it. The last one, we had that really just down guy in that place, which was I just wanted to do a change. Most of my characters seem to be reasonably upbeat, so I wanted to do a lower tone on it just to give a bit more to the situation and that. And then yeah, it should be quite cool. Galahal19 has asked, hey, are you planning on doing a mermaid episode? And if so, what theme are you working into it? I am doing a mermaid episode. It is probably going to be Friday. That's what I've got planned, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm working on the community redraw for Monday, but I will probably do something for Friday. I've got another one to do. It will be in May. Even if it becomes an extra video, it will be in May. And then, yeah, in terms of the theme I'm working into it, that's a surprise because I haven't decided. I had a really, really random suggestion by DempseyJ Gaming, aka that kind of artistic kid, and I quite like it, and I've got to figure out how to do it because if I get it right, it's going to be super funny. Do something with Club Penguin. I'll look into it. I'm not open to putting everything on the list. It's just when I get around to those bits on the list. And Robotic Artist 27. Hey, it has been a while. Right. Now I'm going to potentially do something I haven't done on the channel really. I want to find the larger brush. And I'm going to try that. I wanted to try that silhouette style. I kind of need a thicker brush to do the silhouettes and to drop stuff in to kind of come up with the ideas. I mean, I know I like my rough pencil sketching out, but I really wanted to just try it out. I may ditch this and start back on the kind of other one, but I'm just trying to get a rough, kind of like Wildmutt style head going. Kind of looks a bit like the Alien Predator silhouette for the head, really, doesn't it? Omega Prime, hi. Yes, I kind of did. I missed a couple of people in the chat, but yeah. And Infinity Stones enhance mind control. Ben fused with Infinity Stones enhance Xenomorph Queen. Some venomized wings. Oh, that's not a bad idea actually. Oh, I don't like that. Um, right, let's try and work this a little out. So we've got another head here. A bit that's going to come out really like wide and here. Put a new layer above it to do the tongue, which we all know the symbiote tongues. They kind of go really funky, but they go really cool. So they're kind of like come from this bit, and it's going to go. I kind of want it symbiote tongue going around. I don't want it. It's fours on, so I don't want it. I want it to go forwards, and I kind of want it to curl back in on itself. This is going to look so weird. Of course, it doesn't have any eyes, so that's going to be quite interesting of what we do with the face, because the symbiote's got eyes, but he doesn't. Um, that's going to be a really interesting one, actually. What are we going to do about the eyes? I tell you what, I'm going to group all that so that I can just do this if I need to. Wait, I have an idea. A slit tongue like a snake's. Ooh, potentially. That'd be quite cool. That would be quite interesting. Um, kind of want to sort of body section here, and then there's here. It kind of comes back and around to here in this pose. It's kind of a on here. Really weird when you draw something out that you haven't actually drawn, or you use the silhouette style for stuff, and it looks really weird while I'm using this. I'm not sure. I quite like the silhouette stuff. If you want to see something look really random, here we go. Um, I tell you what, I'm going to revert back to my normal way of doing this. I'm not overly liking how it's looking, and I'm just not getting my head around it. We'll start drawing an actual the lines. I think I work better with the lines and that method. It's too new for me, to be honest. I work a lot better with just drawing what I've got in my head, kind of. Which is quite cool. Um, Oh, who's excited about the Five Nights at Freddy's film that's coming out? They did the trailer, but it's coming out end of the year, isn't it? Is it the 27th of September or something? It's coming out. I know DempseyJ Gaming is, which is quite cool. I might have to go see that. I will definitely be doing a animatronics video before that comes out. Um, how 19 says, "Hey, next man out on the bill, he owes 39.99 to Pizza Hut." No, that's okay. That's okay because Go for Dude 88 is covering the pizza bill, so that's fine. I've got no worries about that. That is fine by me. In case anybody's wondering, I'm going to draw a Wildmutt pose in and then put the symbiote over the top because I find that easier to do the proportions and a rough pose to the character, get the details in, and then decide whether the Venomized bit's going over to make it look a bit more interesting. It's October. Oh, sorry, I thought it was September. Same. I've only used Silhouette Starlight 3 times. Yeah, it is a weird one. I quite like it, but I think I'm going to have to do that off screen and get used to it a bit. I don't. I think the problem is because I do such a large canvas size. These are all at A2 size basically. Is it A2 or A3? I think it's at least A3 size on the canvas, even though you don't see it. It means that the brushes that would normally be huge are really tiny. So the maximum bit for the brush looks really tiny, but it's absolutely massive, and it's like, yeah. So I might have to tweak some of the brushes later on, which would be quite good. Yeah, of course he is. He's got to do it, Galau 19. Remember, Loki won the vote against Simba, or Loki, or something to do with Loki and something, and Go for Dude was covering the pizza bill. I think that was the general gist of it, which was happening. So just check a couple of these references because he's got these little bits on the bottom of his face, which are, yeah, it's quite a few. Don't maybe Five Nights at Animatronics as Jaegers? Possibly. I tell you what though, I haven't watched it yet. It's probably come out now, and I will watch it after the stream or tomorrow. I want to see that Gypsy Danger kaiju that Popcross has done from his community post. I know I'm talking about Popcross a bit here, but that was an absolutely awesome looking teaser, and I'm like, damn, it looks so cool. I'm not putting them in as such, but I'm just going to pencil two spooky eyes on his face so I know roughly the proportions for the head to try and get it in. Right. Goffy is still paying the pizza bill. That's why he hasn't shown up in the stream in a while. He has been about a few times, which is quite good. Galahad 19, did you watch the video that dropped yesterday because it was a bit late? Did you watch it to the end? Just want to know if you watched it to the end before I answer that question because I've started dropping bits in now, which is quite good to the story. But I just want to make sure that if I say something, it's not a total surprise to you if you've seen that one. I'm basically going to make you guys work for your answers on some of these. I also discovered I can do quizzes on my phone. It's been out for a while, but I've done quizzes on my phone. So I will be doing a couple quizzes like the one today being dropped out. Dempsey, look behind you. A Titan is behind you doing the Omni-Man Smash Mouth dance. Is that the Titan? Or is that it? Or is it? Hey, Minecraft, have you noticed? I changed it. Behind me. And just destroyed it on the stream. I put my VENOMIZED Optimus Prime up. Just one for you, Minecraft. You did go through it. Awesome. Now, while I repair half of the wall, I can't believe I just did that on the stream. You guys got to see me destroy my wall. I spent like a good 20 minutes sorting this out this morning, or this beforehand, this evening. In fact, I've lost an image. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Where did it go? Oh, I kid you not, guys. I think I generally lost an image. I've lost the image. It's disappeared. Wow. I'll find that later. I'm missing an image now. I don't know where that... Oh, no. Oh, no. Something's not working. That should have worked. Okay, for some reason, I can't pop up comments at the moment. Noxy, game over for the comments too. But no, yeah, I've lost trail of what I was going to say then, guys. Um, Anybody knows what I was going to say? Let me know. We are back. Yes. Did we lose? Did I disappear? Did we lose something? Let me know. If the stream working? Did it lag? Did it crash? Um, did destroying that destroy the internet because the routers underneath where everything fell? Graceful day. Oh dear. Dempsey, look behind you. Danny DeVito is doing a cover of How Bad Can I Be right behind you. Was perfect accuracy. Yes, Danny DeVito would do that. It froze earlier. Ah, okay. Could have been the connection briefly. It is showing intermittent. Oh, it mega lagged. I think that's because the photo frame hit the router when it dropped, to be honest. Um, so yeah, I probably just tried to destroy the router with that at the same time, which, it was fine. It's how it works. It's destroying the router's fine. We don't need the router. We don't need the internet. I'm just glad I don't have double echoes. I know I'm being mean now, aren't I? Yeah. I was going to say, do you guys want to see? Oh, I know you want to see it. I don't know if I have a narrator for it, but do you guys want to see a kaiju episode from me on the channel at some point? Would that be quite cool? I definitely need to do some more of the series and work them up. Also need to not show off some art that's stuck to the wall next time because I destroyed everything. Noxy's making their own SCP. Nice. And Koifish Gaming with the emoji. Oh, that's your little icon. Yes, congratulations, Koifish. You've been a member for 3 months now, haven't you? So you've got that lovely little Dino Claw, which is quite cool. Galham19 would like to see a kaiju episode. That's quite cool. But when I say kaiju, I learned something today. I was researching kaijus today, actually. I wanted to find out some stuff, and I discovered that a kaiju stands for sea monster, which is why Godzilla's classed as kaiju. But you have other forms of names for the monsters. So I think if you've got like a giant, it doesn't actually translate to just kaiju. It's like giant. They're supposed to be giant unidentified monsters or life forms, and they transform to just giant creatures, which is quite cool. So it's really good. Sarah, I told myself half an hour ago I was going to join and then forgot. That's not a problem, Zara. You've made it now anyway, and we're still in the stage of the streaming while we're just inking. I have to say I've not done too much on this so far. I do have a reference image for what I'm kind of doing here. I will put a kind of an Omnitrix on his arm here with the classic symbol, just so I've got that placed. He does have lots of these frills everywhere, which is rather fun and interesting to do. You got a kaiju movie to recommend to me? What is your kaiju movie? Let me know. Yes, kaiju video like Stranger Things monsters and Gotoya Tokyo monsters as kaiju. That would be quite an interesting one too. The Mega Prime says, I wonder what a kaiju version of me would look like. Better looking than I am now. No, no, I think a kaiju version of me would be quite cool. In fact, I will do stuff like fan art challenges and stuff. I haven't done it previously or very often, but I think it's something that needs to be done a bit more. I've kind of the events on the Discord server have kind of been a bit lacking with the amount of time I've had to put into work and other commitments, unfortunately, which I'm trying to rebalance. But they will be picking up again. Koi says member for 2 months. I've got 3 on my screen here. Maybe it's not updated on YouTube yet. Dempsey is not only wrestling artist and creator, he's also my towering horse in Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, towing horse. Yes, I'm a rather majestic, lovely contrasting looking horse in Tears of the Kingdom for Koifish Gaming. I also do not do what I'm told, go off on a tangent and like to run sideways, down, off bridges, backwards. I know that makes absolutely no sense, but anybody who's seen the streams will get that. Anybody who hasn't, go back and watch them. Yeah. Monster Hunter and monsters as kaiju. Possibly, but a lot of the monsters kind of could be kaiju. I would actually turn the Monster Hunter monsters into maybe anime heroes or oh fusions. Okay, Ben, you just gave me a brilliant idea for what do you guys think? Monster Hunter fused with DC or Marvel. So the monsters fused with the actual superheroes or characters from them and villains with a storyline and lore. I really like that idea, actually. I quite like that. I think, Ben, you've just given me a really good idea for a video, and I need to jot that down somewhere. I mean, did I miss anything important? I had to leave and enter back because I was struggling with lag. No, I've just been drawing this and just been answering a few things about ideas. Maybe monsters as Jaegers. That'd be quite cool. Mr. E likes that episode idea. Right. Somebody message me on the Discord or stick it on a comment. Monster Hunter Fusions. That's all you need to do. Just put Monster Hunter Fusions on there and I'll do that. But yeah, like Justice League Monster Hunters and stuff like that would be really cool. And Wildmutt's basic form is done for this. So what we're going to do is we will shrink this down. Well, change the opacity down. Get another colour. That'll do for this. Drop that down, and we're going to start adding the details for the venomization stuff. So just got to find the right size brush, and I want to just take this tongue. And the beauty of this is, because I'm penciling in and I've got the lines, I can see where it's going to see what I want to do with it. And I think I kind of like Justin's idea of doing a forked tongue on this, which is kind of cool. So I need it coming down here. I just need it to kind of fork out. But what I want to do is something even more fun. I'm going to put teeth on the bottom of his tongue. I think a few extra teeth on the bottom of his tongue. And do we make it forked or do we make it a triple threat with teeth on it? What do you guys think? Should we have like a triple threat tongue with teeth on it? Oh, sorry, I do apologise, Alan Animations or Alien Animations. That was your idea, not Justin. I do apologise. Your names are in green, and I got completely confused because your name on Discord starts with a J as well, and I saw a notification come up a minute ago. I do apologise, but credit where credit's due. That was your idea. But what do you think about the split trio tongue? Kind of like a almost like a Resident Evil type symbiote tongue coming out, parasite tongue. Minecraft Transformers, thank you for gifting a membership. We do appreciate it. And congratulations to Stella Kitsune for getting membership. Congrats. I don't know if you've had membership before, Stella. But if you have, I will double check and add you to the Discord roles in a little while. Destroyer and Destroyer Pro. Yeah, we need a better name. I like it. I like DempseyJ Destroyers. There's a nice ring to it. But if anyone's got a better suggestion that everybody wants, let me know. I'm happy to change the role name or the name of the members. You just get what you've got in terms of your access. Um, Triple threat for giving Venomized Wildmutt a sort of Cerberus. Ooh. This shows up. I'll go for do this pain that needs a bill. Yep, that is true. That is quite an interesting point. Um, I kind of want to give him a broken tooth. I don't know why. I just thought the idea of a somewhat venomized Wildmutt with a broken tooth would be quite cool, and I want to have part of the original mouth showing. I don't know why. I just like to have some of the original features showing when you've got the symbiote on part of the face or something. I just think it's rather cool. I also want to do a bit more of a... I have a problem with my art style, which you guys don't really notice, and sometimes I do when I do things like symbiotes. I put too much detail into an area where it looks really cool, but sometimes when I look at other Venomized stuff for symbiotes, just having a few strands instead of like a few hundred actually works better for the composition of the piece. So I will try on this to be a bit more mindful of where I'm putting stuff. Gallagher19 says, Nexum has robbed Pizza Hut. He stole the slush puppy machine and welded it to a suit. Now he gives everyone brain freezes. Yeah, I could see him doing that. He could also, I could see him also making a comment if maybe he wanted to just give everybody brain freezes and, you know, show a colder side like the Monica does to him. We could have a lot of fun with that. Sorry. I have a name for the venomized Wildmutt, Venohound. That's quite cool. Dempsey, put the Kai symbiote on Wildmutt and make it look like a sort of Cerberus. Possibly the Cerberus, I'm not sure about that bit yet. I'm just getting a few bits of the symbiote stuff in place because I kind of like the idea of kind of coming over a little bit and covering most of the head so that we can get this kind of... I'm trying to think of the right word here. Get this kind of really nice flowing design going with the yeah, I kind of get in place and just get this composition sorted. I can't think of the right word I'm trying to think of. Anybody has any ideas or guesses? Feel free to drop it into the chat. Nexum seems the type to try and outpiece the Hut. Noxy, you are spot on there. Nexum definitely is the type to outpiece the Hut. I do like doing these symbiote type penalizations. I do think I will do a form of uh, carnage type symbiote with a few blacks and different colors on. I'm not sure about red though. I might change it to be a different color, and I got this pattern similar to carnage. Just because of the orange, I don't know how well the red's going to go against the orange for the contrast. Usually they work really well. So if you've got an orange color, maybe doing a purple symbiote, which is more to the original color, or a teal one, that nice contrast of color would work. I've also seen a few techniques on YouTube today where you do tertiary colors. So I'll have to show you the color wheel. If you do this, I believe you've got you all know about complementary colors. So I mean, in Harmony, this is complementary colors. So you've got them over the side. But what you can actually do is you can go to triadic colors. Now this gives you kind of like that pop effect. So if Wildmutt is, I'm sharing some tips here. If Wildmutt is this color, then the opposite color would be this kind of color for the symbiote, but I can add a purplish huey highlight to the symbiote to make the contrast work out. And I will show that a bit later on, but remind me to do that because that's a really cool trip. A really cool tip. I can't speak right now. I'm going to have a drink. A really cool tip on making things pop and stand out, as well as using the use of like halftones to add color into areas that don't have it. So we may experiment and make a really funky picture and see how it looks like, or we may just end up with what we've normally got. I also will be doing a redraw at some point, just for you guys to know, so you can think about it now. I want alternate versions of the narrators. I'll put a little description for each of our narrators, and I want alternate versions, silly names, silly abilities and stuff, and I will take them and I will tweak the best ones for the characters into possibly an occurring video with the narrator voices that might pop up from time to time. But I do want to do that. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, the internet doesn't always need your voice unless you're a YouTuber or doing live streams like me. Dempsey, have the lighting for the Venomized Wildmutt coming from the bottom of the screen. I know what you mean, the atmospheric. So you want it so all the shadows are at the top here and the light's coming up from that direction. I think that might work. I like that idea. It's also different to how I normally do my lighting, which will make it quite interesting. Best bit about this stage is while I'm inking these out, I can not so much worry about the finer details, as it were. I say not so much worry about the finer details. I'm going to be here thinking, I don't like the look of that. This is where my less is more kind of works. Random question, but what is the absolute stupidest thing I've drawn? On the channel or ever? In fact, I can give you guys some hope if I can find it. Where is it? Right, I'm going to show off something now. So, all you guys who say you can't draw, right? All you guys who say you can't draw and you're tail bullet drawing, right? I drew this when I was 11, and this was the best I can do. Now I know a lot of people who can draw better than this now on the Discord who are slightly older than 11, or even people who were younger than 11 and can draw. This is my Flintstones piece. I found this a little while back. This is Flintstones I drew watching the cartoon when I was about 11. This is a DempseyJ original. This is like old school. This is probably the oldest piece of art I've got. And I was so proud of it. I really loved it. I may redraw it on the channel at some point and do a twist with it, but I was so proud of that. Sat there watching it on Cartoon Network when I was younger. So there's hope for everyone there. Even I wasn't great at drawing at one point. Just to give some inspiration to people. And I saw it in the corner of my eye, so I thought I'd just show a bit of old art. Yeah, it's really good when you consider I was 11, but when you think of when I know, it's when you criticize yourself. A lot of people, they see their art and they go, "Oh, it's not what I wanted. It's not as good as I wanted it to turn out," because they judge it against everyone else's art, which can be a good trait, but it can also be a really bad trait. And it's just a case of I suck at pencil coloring. Literally, the longest drawing I've done as a pencil drawing is 11 hours on a Wonder Woman one. After the movie came out, the very first one, I think it's the Justice League movie came out. No, was it? No, the first Wonder Woman movie came out, and I was like, I spent ages on it. I drew it. It took me like days to do it. Used my polychrome pencils, knocked that down, knocked that out. Really proud of it, but at the same time, I'm looking and I'm thinking, I am terrible at this. Really, alcohol markers, great. Painting, color pencils, I am useless at. And animations, true, it took me a year to get better at drawing. It did. You find this is the thing. People try and draw something and then they get frustrated when it doesn't turn out how they want. But everybody kind of forgets it's progressive. The more you draw, the better you're going to get. Even if you're just copying an image and you're just drawing that over and over, eventually you'll get better at drawing with your lines and the line weight and stuff, and it'll just work out quite nice. But yeah, it's a bit of a, I say it's a bit of a weird one. It's one of those moments where I look back and I think, oh my God. And I look at some of the drawings that my youngest has done when he was like 5, and I'm like, that's just, I'm part of that sometimes. And I haven't taught him any art. He's just drawing stuff from memory. And I'm like, that's better than I could do at that age. I don't trust colour pencils. I stick with pencils and shading. Yeah, it's all about technique. Something I have yet to master when it comes to coloured pencils and that. Right, so he's got this weird designed one here, and it kind of comes down to these. I'm just quickly blocking in a Omnitrix section. What I'll do is I'll turn the layer up and then drop both of them combined together in a bit. If we're comparing my drawing skills from false to now, I've gotten quite better. Your drawing of false was really good. I mean, I was really impressed by that open heart. I saw it and I just thought I had to pick it. It's very rare I see a piece of art that's submitted that on a redraw where I don't have a story in mind and it fits and I just go, yeah, I'm going to do that. I have to say, on your image of false, before I even came up with the concept for that redraw, before I even read the law, I looked at the picture and I just was like, as soon as you submitted it, I was like, yep, that's going in. I didn't even have to hesitate. Not trying to big you up or anything, or you know, like overconfident stuff, but it was an amazingly well designed piece. Is the best thing I can say about it. I mean, all the submissions are great that I get for the community redraws, but that one just screamed out, "Pick me!" So I did. What have we got? Dempsey, can the tail be another Wildmutt head? Another Wildmutt head? Oh wait, he's got a tail, hasn't he? Has he got a tail? I thought the Wildmutt doesn't have a tail. Wildmutt doesn't have a tail. Not in the original Ben 10 that I'm using. Like the evolved or the older version of the Wildmutt has a tail, but this version doesn't. It's the younger version. I mean, I could add a Venomized tail to it. Because most of the time, Zara says, because most of the time when I draw, I have a reference photo on my phone, so I can just change the setting to black and white. That's really good idea. Next time is the kind of guy to take a loan from a bank to buy the bank. Yes. Wildmutt species don't have tails. They don't have tails until they grow up. Yep. I might add a venomized one onto it because it can access the DNA of the Wildmutt and ingest it. So it says, I'm fine at drawing hands and eyes alone, but if it's part of a body, how it's supposed to be, I just don't. So all of your characters are eyeless and handless characters going around. That's quite cool. I do actually quite like that idea. Let's bring a couple of symbiote bits back here, which is quite cool. Got venomized tongue. I kind of want part of that to be venomized, and then the rest of the leg to be normal. And then like a completely venomized foot at the back. And the body. I think that kind of works well for that part. I just avoid drawing humans in general. Yeah, but Zara, just go for it. Just set a project and just study and do some. Next to Mr. Cheapskate of the group. He is and he isn't. I think he's kind of like he's kind of like Rodney from Only Fools and Horses. Now, a lot of you probably will not get that reference. but he's the Rodley Delboy. Sorry, Delboy from Any Fools and Horses, which is played by I believe it's Jason Frank. Or was it Jason Frost? Anyway, he's always got these bright ideas and schemes, but they never seem to work out quite how you want them to be. That'd be the best description. Um, okay, so I think we're going to add. Should we add a Venomized tail into this? I kind of think maybe we should. Where would it go though? Would it come? I think it would probably come out from here. Work its way round the back. I'm kind of just drawing the symbiote straight out here. I'm not even bothering with a few of it. And then just come around, kind of like a pincer bit here. I know we said about someone's mentioned a head or three heads on it. I'm not sure about doing the three heads, just because I'm not sure where I'd place them. I also think that even though we've got the Omnitrix X in there, I kind of want the bottom bit to look a bit like the Spider-Man Venom symbol. I know it's little details, but they're the fun bits. Emma Hart says, to be honest, if false wasn't chosen and you didn't make the mistake with the pocket making it become a badge, I wouldn't have improved my art and started to create quite an interesting story. Well, I appreciate the fact that I was inspiration on that, but I think if you, I suppose my happy mistake did help you inspire you with the story bit, but I wouldn't knock it. That was a really good character design, and that story was quite cool. I even like the fact you kind of broke the fourth wall with me in the story for the lore for him, which was really cool. Uh, Nexon's character design reminds me of the main character of Treasure Planet. Yeah, he does have that look. He's got that kind of like middle parting. Yeah, I kind of think about that. I've got to redraw the narrators actually. I want to do a digital piece of each of the narrators, which I think would be quite cool. Okay, if we're going to make this scary, I just want a few symbiote bits coming up from between the leg bits there, and I think that's kind of the main bulk of that done. So if we bring that up, merge them together, bring them down in opacity, and then just go to uh, classic pitch black, get our inker, and then start the inking process. I've got, how long have we been going for? I've got no idea how long we've been streaming. Oh, about an hour. Oh, this is going quite good actually. We're going quite well on this. Crap, just realised I haven't joined your Discord. Please stand by. That's okay, Zara. There's no major rush. There's links all over. There's probably a link in my Discord profile as well, I think, to my Discord. But yeah, the link's the same, so that's cool. Yeah, I mean, last stream I said he made around 20k per mech armor. Yeah, he's the type of guy to buy a brand of buy off-brand food. Yes, he is definitely. When you do the redraw, can we get a scene at a diner fighting with each other in a booth? Oh, do you mean Justin? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Just so I know. Yes, Sarah, you're in. I've seen it pop up, but I can't jump onto Discord yet to go hi. But hi. Um, yeah, Justin, when you do the redraw, can we get a scene at a diner fight with each other in a booth? Are you on about the community redraw, or when I redraw something else, like the narrators? Just want to check I know what you're on about on that one. I mean, potentially. there's no harm in having a huge. In fact, let's just zoom out a little bit for this, and we'll just do this one as a not quite zoomed in. I know the techniques Popcross was saying in his video, in his stream, if anybody's interested in, I know how to do them in Procreate to a degree, but they're fighting like friends in a booth in the diner scene. Oh, okay. The narrators. Possibly. I can look into it. I have been wanting to work on backgrounds a bit more, but it is finding time to do them. In terms of artwork like this, you don't want to take away from the illustration as such. So you want what you're drawing to be your main focus. But yeah, no, it's potential. It can be done. I might zoom in just a little bit, just so we can just make sure we've got all of the details. Which is quite fun to do and quite well, it's always fun to do these details. It's just making sure the symbiote looks menacing enough is always it's always a tricky task to do sometimes because you want to have the detail, but then you want enough detail to show what you want at the same time as not taking away from the whole essence of the piece. Which sometimes can be really hard to do. Yeah, it can be quite tricky at times to do some of the details on a piece and figure out where everything's going to go without. Sorry, it's the concentration. I can't talk and draw at the same time. I can, but I can't. Getting those details in and getting things to be detailed enough, but not overly detailed, is kind of like a skill and a trick to have, but it can also be really tricky to do. Chat, what is your favorite hologram icons for silhouettes for the Omnitrix? Oh, that's quite an interesting one. I quite like some of the original ones, like Forearms and that, where they were quite clear and distinct, but they were quite cool for the silhouette. Dempsey, you could fuse fuse Max Steel and Buzz Lightyear characters, Kim Possible and Ben 10 characters, Danny Phantom and Jennifer Wakeman characters. Possibly. Justin says if you add American Dragon, I'm sold. Holograms, easy to tell what's what. Yeah, they are. Has anybody heard of the show called Marty Mystery? It's basically. Now, I don't know what came out first. In fact, I'm going to find out. So the original series of Ben 10 first aired in March 2006. Now, I want Marty Mystery. I don't know if any of you guys would even know Marty Mystery. October 1st, 2023. Ben 10's Omnitrix is the U-Watch from Martin Mystery. Just watch the series. It's on Prime. I think it's on. Yeah, I think it's on Prime. You can watch it if you've got Amazon Video. Basically, he's got a watch where he goes through certain options. He gets things like Legend Decks where he hunts the paranormal, or a slime tester and stuff. He goes across, or a grappling pole and stuff. He goes across and he gets tools come out of it for him to use. That's the Omnitrix with tools. Literally, I was watching it, I was thinking, which one came out first? It's quite well put together, and it's really funny. I have watched it when I was younger, but I found it on there and I started watching it the other day and cleared both seasons. It was really good. I think Scooby Doo meets actual paranormal things with a uh, utility watch and a secret organization. It's pretty good. Emin Hart, I'm currently still writing the story, which I'll keep secret for now. Ooh. The only hint I'll give is that Krampus's magic is more powerful than he realised. Uh-oh. Krampus's magic was quite a fun storyline. I did like that idea. I also think at some point I may have to bring back some of the other. That other team will have to return at some point, even if it's mentioned or we have an maybe an evolved form of the characters from it that you guys can redraw. Yes, it's basically looks like the boy version of Totally Spies. Yes, you are right. It had Billy the little green alien, and it had Mum as Mum and Java the caveman. Hang on, let me get a picture for you. Uh, oh, that's a really bad picture. Really bad picture being picked up. Hang on. Um, I don't know how well it's going to show up, but basically, uh, it's going wrong. Right, hang on. Let's find an actual picture of this. This guy, yellow hair. It's kind of like a Hawaiian t-shirt and that. Um, but yeah, it is basically that is kind of like Ben 10 on a watch and goes through that and stuff, which is it was quite interesting to watch after watching Ben 10 and then suddenly remembering, oh wait, I've watched this when I was a child. Ah, but then you suddenly think, but I watched Ben 10 when I was younger too. So which one came out first? It's one of those interesting ones, but it was yeah, it was quite fun. In fact, I can close that down. I don't need that. The Omnitrix is basically a device from the Hell Age of Heroes. Yeah, you had a very intriguing discussion with another streamer and another person on what would be a Ben 10 crossover Scooby Doo would look like. Martin Mystery, literally, it's just Martin. The Martin Mystery series is potentially the Ben 10 crossover with Scooby Doo. And you just don't have the dress up of the characters. It's more as like the villains and monsters and stuff in the traps. It's just more real ghost and ghoul type things. I have no idea about the Totally Spies kind of like design one that they've done. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. At the same time, I'm kind of like, really? Problem is, when something does really well, it comes out. So it's like Digimon. Digimon and Pokemon have done really well, and then you've got all the other ones that have come out with cute monsters or things you can capture and that over the years, and you're like, wait, what? Or you get a series like Pokemon, and then you've got like 400. Over the 25 years and that, they've done so many series, movies, and episodes because it's so popular. It's like they've done that to heaven and earth. The games, everything. It's still an amazing franchise. It's an amazing franchise. No, it's an amazing franchise. Um, Brilliant. Absolutely love all the designs for the Pokemon, the stories, and that. Most of them are amazing. It's the same thing. You can never get bored of it in a game and that. Um, but at the same time, sometimes it's a case of, oh, okay then. You've kind of done this to death. I know you keep hitting the younger audience, but Is there much more you can do with this? I do like the fact they have rebooted the series with a different protagonist now. I haven't seen any of it yet, but I do think that that reboot after so long, they've done it at the right time. And Nintendo are really good at knowing their stuff in terms of when to create a reboot or another version of a series. Like the recent Zelda game they brought out, they know the audience, they care for the audience, or the Mario movie. They keep it true to what they've done. It's their product. They're like, yeah, no, we're doing it our way. We're not falling for everything that everybody seems to want in here. We're doing it our way. This is what it's meant to be. Deal with it. And it works. Pokemon are sick. Yes, they are. My favourite one is there behind me, Lucario. Oh, you can't see it. This is my favourite Pokemon. And yes, I have a reference pose picture for Lucario. Or a picture? Words are hard. The immortal words of some YouTubers. Stay. Um, yes, sometimes words are escaping me tonight. It's been a long day. Which, yes, Mondays go really quickly and you don't seem like you've accomplished much, but at the same time, they take forever to go sometimes. Which is no disrespect to anybody who loves Mondays. I just think Mondays are the day of the week that everybody doesn't, no matter what you're doing, you can love Mondays, but Mondays have a way of just confusing you on every aspect. Time, um, the time of it, the speed, your perception, everything's just out the window when it comes to a Monday, which is quite good fun at the same time. My favorite Pokemon is Sandslash or Cinderace. Nice. I do like Ceruledge. That's my second favorite one. Oh, no, sorry. Lucario, then Charizard, and I've moved my Venomized picture over there to show my Ceruledge one at the top here that we did, that I printed out. I got printed. They are kind of like my top three that I prefer. Um, just personal preference more than anything else. I just like them. I think they're quite cool. Are you happy that Akari is Ash's ace in the last season he was in? Yes, he was, which is really cool. We didn't have school, so I definitely feel like I accomplished nothing. That is a super long weekend. I get that next weekend. Uh, next Monday, it's bank holiday in the UK. So I am looking so forward to that. I will have the redraw done. I may be working on the redraw up to the nth hour. As you always do. I would like to get ahead. I keep saying that. I want to get ahead of my videos, and I never get around to it because I jinx it by saying I want to get ahead of my videos. And then something happens. And then it's like crazy chaos. But no, it's I do enjoy doing these videos, to be honest. They are really good. As in fun to do. Sorry, I should have finished that sentence. I kind of like paused in the middle of that. The videos are really good fun to do, and I really enjoy, getting to the narrators sometimes. I'm getting more comfortable just going into random voices or just doing a crazy style of narrator. Just thinking, I've been doing them for a while, let's just add some really wacky character in there or some doom and gloom guy and just how would my narrators react to that and what could we do? And how could I make this not so standard doom and gloom? Like having the kids in a dimension where it's doom and gloom, and because the guy's a demon talking to Dino Dinoclaw, it's hard to tell if he's being serious, but at the same time, it's like it's doom and gloom. But we've got this bone kind of dragon made out of the fear of bones that the kids play and jump in, try and get eaten by it to slide out the rib cage and run away because they've got nothing else to do. They're bored. But it's like, really? It's like, yes. that is where I went with that. That is where that's staying, which was quite fun. Quite weird idea as well, but quite fun. Um, can I turn Hannah Montana into Omnitrix user? That's basically a Gwen 10 in a sense, isn't it? Ben says, Dempsey, I'm going to be graduating on July 9th, so I'll try to submit for community redraws for both you and Popcross. Ah, cool. No, sorry, June. I read that wrong. I got July in my head. I do apologise, guys. It's 11:30 at midnight. I've gone 11:30 at night. 11:30 at midnight. Words are escaping me tonight, so if anybody wants to cut us short and say YouTubers can't talk, YouTuber artists can't talk and draw at the same time when they're on camera, please feel free, because tonight I'm going to be giving you lots of material and content. So, bro, I went on a live stream yesterday, said hello, and the person thought I was British. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm British, and I go, hello. Oh, that's quite funny. Speaking of British, Hello Hello is one of the best sitcoms that we had before. Having a British man play a French man trying to do a British accent, it works so well for back then. If you're easily offended, don't watch any of the old British sitcoms. Is all I'll say. But if you're not and you like a good laugh, you've got to watch some of them. If you haven't heard of them already, they are absolutely hilarious. Omen Hart says, if you have us do an upgrade of Loki's evil squad we made, I wouldn't only be upgrading Amstrad Social, right, but also be given more lore. That's cool. There'll be, if I do that, there'll be set instructions in the thing. So I'll get people to, I mean, you guys will naturally submit a upgrade to your own characters, but I'll have to open it up to potential alternate versions and stuff that people can design, so everyone's included in the redraw. Kind of want it to be so that if they do get upgraded, obviously we want people to submit and join in, not a case of, oh well, the same people are going to get picked, because it may be someone's original design which is referenced, but we may get a really awesome design by somebody who's done a bit of fan art for it or something. And then I'll mention both the original and the other version. I'll show the original artwork and with a mention in the video. The next bit, I haven't planned out how I'm going to do this, to be honest. The upgrade version's a nice idea, and I want to do that. I just haven't planned out. If it's a redraw, it's probably going to be more complicated than making a special video and contacting the original people to just redesign them to go into something. Oh wow, could you imagine? Crazy 4 Days says, wait, earlier, did you say alternate narrative versions? Yes, one of my redraws, I will be asking you guys to come up with an alternate version of my narrators. They can be as silly as you like in names. Basically, I thought it was really fun originally when Popcross introduced, we suddenly had Shampoo McGregor instead of Champagne McGregor and that. I think it'd be really fun for you guys to design some alternate versions of my narrators that I can have some fun with. So they may still be mech armor creators, but when there will be instructions to what I need to know for them and that for the design. But the idea is it'll be their personalities that you guys are coming up with as well as the design to a degree. So it'll be like Nexim's supposed to be like this cool, suave, but always up to something mech armor creator. You might have another guy, not Nexum, it could be Vexum, who's always angry, short-tempered, venting and vexing about every little thing that gets on his nerves, and everything gets on his nerves. It's basically something like that, where you take the narrators and you have some fun with them. And you kind of tweak and twist what the character is and do opposite personalities so that I can do scenarios which are quite interesting. I have just heard a sound from outside, which I am really hoping. is someone's window or car door, because if it's not, that was really creepy. Because I'm on one story up, or I'm not on the ground floor, which makes it rather interesting. Okay, so I'll turn that one off. I've got that there. Let's see how well I locked the... Wow, that was really good actually. Only a little bit down here that was missed. I was not expecting that. He says, clicking the other bits to soon find out he's missed like 20 spots. So, just so you guys know what I'm doing here, I always create a couple layers underneath so that I've got a bit from the background up. I'll then drop in a white silhouette, and usually if I've got stuff off the edge of the canvas bit, I have to add that in. You don't actually see the difference as such on screen, but it means that I can then have a layer that I can clipping mask with everything, so I can drop the colors on top. If I clipping mask that layer and add a couple, it's just so much easier to then just go color fill, which works really well. I will on this stage drop the background color to be a bit darker because I want to be able to see the colors that I'm dropping on. And then we'll look for the colors like Wildmutt's. So this is the one drawback. I don't have the reference image of Wildmutt on the iPad, which means I can't drop a reference picture in to color pick from, which would be quite interesting. What else happened in the chat while I'm thinking of which color's the best one? There's a room in our class that we need to wear our uniforms for grad. I'll find out tomorrow, and our class is going to revolt if that's true. Fair enough. Dempsey tries to Doc Martin and Downton Abbey. It is lonesome, but when his family pops around the corner, Dempsey nervously hurries to change it to Ben 10. Crazy Day. Rhino Claw, no more dinosaurs, only rhinos. Oh, Crazy for a Day. That, you've got no idea of how fun that could be for a story. That could be super, super interesting. Let's just merge that into one of them, so I've got that, and duplicate both of them for something for later. Put a couple layers in. I want to, I guess I want to do the pink tongue next, and then the symbiote bit over the top, so I can just get a rough idea for it. Who have we still got in the chat? Say hi. If you just dropped in, we are basically taking Wildmutt and venomizing Wildmutt in a slightly different pose, and then once we've kind of done that, hopefully everything's going to drop into place on this illustration really nicely. I'm also going to possibly experiment with tertiary colors in an illustration, which means this could go super awesome or super bad when I get to a certain point. But we'll know that once we get to that point. Which is why I will do all of that stuff on a separate layer. He says now, he'll be on different layers later. Is making characters being alcoholics a character trait allowed? You can, but I may have to tweak how much of a reference to it there is just because of YouTube's guidance and guidelines. I'm not trying to be a party pooper or anything on there. It's just a case of they have some really strict guidelines about some things that you can and can't do. So you can mention they like to drink a lot and they say, oh, I want a drink, but you can't mention like the term alcoholic too often and stuff. Depending on the context of what you're talking about, depends on what you can and can't say, really. Oh, I just realized I completely left out the Omnitrix. Whoopsie, I will just drop one in there in a minute. That's fine. Okay, leaves out the Omnitrix. Yeah, I'll just build one in a minute. It's fine, don't worry about it. Give me 5. Oh, I was watching Crunchyroll earlier, and I've gotten into Air Gear. a bit more mature in some aspects of the concepts, but the general idea is they've got these like motorized roller skates and they can got walls and buildings and stuff with it. It's actually quite a cool concept. It's not too bad. Needs to go that colour. And then that needs to go in that colour behind there. I will be sorting this shortly. Yeah, so it is the middle bit. Bit weird with no music on, isn't it? I've got to talk. I got to keep remembering. I need to talk, otherwise this isn't going to work. Um, yeah. So I guess the question is, has anybody got any art questions they want, or any series they want me to kind of like do a digital painting of? Maybe consider for an actual video. We've had a few suggestions earlier, but is there anything in particular that you guys want? You know, chuck some stuff up my way. Any questions you want asking? Mimosas. Oh, I like that, Justin. I just seen it. Dempsey, is that carnage on Big Chill behind you? I hope not. Imagine a Tetraman. Imagine a Tetraman forearms in a lantern core. Would they get 2 rings? No, they'd probably get 1, unless they could actually have 4 rings. There are cases where the Green Lanterns and the other lanterns have had multiple rings, and in order to become a White Lantern, you actually have to have all of the other rings. Could I continue Fantasy Armors? Did I do a Fantasy Armor episode? I can't remember if I actually did an episode on Fantasy Armors or I just mentioned about a potential episode on Fantasy Armors. I could look into a Fantasy Armor episode. I would need to figure out who my narrator is going to be or who the speaker is going to be. But sure, yeah, that's a possibility. Is that Toka Star behind you actually doing that or a dance? You've got a thing about that dance. Oh, has anybody watched Demon Slayer Season 3? I've watched it all now and it's awesome. Like, I kind of have the feeling Demon Slayer is never going to end if they keep their current track of what they're doing. Okay, that's the one I wanted to do. And for this one, I need to go around there, pink there, and hey look, my eraser colour swings in. This is a Nexum special. This is a Nexum original eraser. It changes the colour of anything you use it on digitally. Ta-da! This is where everybody goes, he's going crazy, he's got too much time on his hands. Yes, I have. Is there a rainbow lantern? Not sure. I mean, the white is supposed to have all the abilities of all of them, and they all have separate colours which potentially make up the rainbow colours with all the individual lanterns. So all the Lantern Corps do make a rainbow. Would be quite interesting, actually, that one. Good question. I expect someone's designed one somewhere, though, if there isn't. Okay, so... Okay, now on to the symbiote stuff, because we were going to... Yes, because I was going to show you the whole tertiary colour stuff in Harmony, so the 3 colours. So if we take this colour back, we've effectively got... If I turn this down to complementary colours, So the complementary colour for this one is actually a bluish colour down here. But if we go to split complementary, okay, that could work. So we've got that one there. That goes to that one and that. So that would be the colour of... This is going to look so weird. I'm warning you now, guys, this is going to look way weirder than you were expecting. Just so you know. We are in experimentation stage here, so I'm going to be doing stuff and it's going to look crazy. I kind of want to see about making these colours pop a bit, so I will be either just doing this as a flat and then another flat colour over it, and then yeah, possibly do that to get the colours to pop, or it's going to just go really random. What have we got? Dempsey, turn the elements into folklore creatures like earth, water, fire, air, and metal. I am going to do that around the time I see the Elements movie that's coming out from Pixar. I want to see that movie, and I think that'd be perfect timing to do something with the elements, to be honest. So that's my plan of action, to do some along elements then. I'm not sure about folklore creatures, but I will be doing something. Wow. This is kind of going to be like an in-your-face symbiote design. Maybe I should do the other colour. We'll see. You did a Fancy Armour episode once, going to read your Ironfall talked about and showed all these armours that his friend made. Oh, did I? I remember him talking about his friend. I didn't actually bring an narrator in. I couldn't remember if I've done... It's that long ago, I've done that many episodes on stuff. You're probably right. It does ring a bell, that. Definitely sounds familiar, so definitely one that I'm... I need to go back and have a look, but yeah, put that in the comments on a video. More Fantasy Armor episodes, and then I'll have a reminder to look at and do another Fantasy Armor episode. I tell you, it's really weird after moderating a pop cross stream that has people messaging so much you've got to put slow mode on, to having, you know, a couple of regulars asking questions and the chat just goes nice and steady, which is really good. I think also, I'm guessing, I like Procreate. I'm going to change the subject completely now just to confuse everybody. I really like Procreate because of its easy use and ability. It's just handy to take this around with me. I can record the screen as I'm drawing on my other, the other illustrations on the channel and that. The only downside I've got is this interface. I can get rid of the interface, but the shortcuts don't cover everything you need to do. And then there's no super cool gradient tool to use, so that takes a bit longer. But when I'm doing a video for you guys, I have to ask, when I do the speed paint videos and the interface is popping up and down as I zoom in and that, is that annoying? Because it kind of causes a flickering effect, and I really don't. I'm trying to look at ways to improve the quality of my videos, and if that's causing an issue for people, I would like to know to be able to then sort it. Hey, Koi Fish, glad you're still here. I think I'll come up with a social media handle for next to hear Dempsey. Cool. Wait, if there's a white lantern, could there be a black lantern? There is. The black lanterns are for death, the white lanterns are for life. So there is a black lanterns, and yes, they are. You have to be dead to be a black lantern. Just to confuse people. Oh, if any of you guys are up for community playing games, particularly Fall Guys, then keep your schedule free on Thursday this week, I believe it is. Koi, correct me if I'm wrong. Thursday, Koifish Gaming's channel. He will be streaming a community session on Fall Guys, I think it is. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, either way, check out his channel. It'll probably be on there. If not, it will be on there. I tend to join along when I'm about, and I can play Fall Guys. So if you're there, I might have to have a little match with you in the game. Dempsey will be watching Black Clover movie and Elements by Pixar probably. I will at some point. I'll be watching most of it. So you basically put in the Mayhem symbiote on Wildmutt. I'll put Peter's daughter who is symbiote on Discord. But if there's a way around it, I'm just helping Joe get with it. Ah, yes, the exam. Yeah, cool. Drop a link to your channel in the chat if you want, or a link to if you set up the stream thing. Drop it in. If not, just a link to your channel for people. Most people should know it by now, but if they don't, drop it in for them. Right. So I want to start working on the next part, and this is going to be the fun bit. I want to drop some of these colors. On this one, we've got this. So from that one, we come down to that bit, but I kind of want to go back to classic, and I just want to drop this out for the standard stuff that I tend to do. I mean, you can use an airbrush at this stage instead of using the tool that I'm using now, the brush that I've got. We want the light coming from the bottom up, don't we? So we want the shadows casted at the top. You see, I remembered. It's a bit weird for me, but I remembered where the shadows are supposed to be coming from. Just about. I'm really not used to doing shadows on, the lighting for shadows at this point. So there'll be some areas where it'll still keep similar shadows casted because of these. But in theory, the shadows should all be outer regions here. Oh, this is really weird. You've completely thrown my entire sense of where the shadows are meant to be. Let's just darken that down to make sure we're doing it right. Yeah, you've knocked my entire sense of lighting out the window with this, Ben. I hope you're happy, Ben. You've managed to completely just make my brain hurt. Can Jason Todd become one then? A Black Lantern? Yes, potentially. If he's dead at the time and not gone through the Lazarus pit to become the Red Hood, then yeah, potentially any of them can. Okay, so for this one, this is where I want to go a bit funky on this design. So that's the color there. We know that's that. That's the color selected. So if you actually get the normal color right there, that's the kind of color that we want, which kind of gives this funky effect. I think maybe we just want to do that and then have the other color on top. So have that color for the lighter areas, like. Yeah, this is a completely psychedelic Wildmutt. I will be adding black over the top of this symbiote stuff once we've got the base colours in. Dempsey, look, Orochimaru is behind me. Don't! He's got a big sword that can steal your soul if he stabs you with it. Don't want him behind me. Um, Dempsey, Dempy, I'm back, and whoa, light blue for Venom. Yeah, it's kind of like a Carnegie symbiote, and it's going to be quite an interesting one because the idea was for the lighting to be coming up from the bottom, so it's going to be kind of lit from underneath. It's like the reverse lighting to what I do on all my pieces, which is completely throwing me right now. Kind of a good way, but it is completely throwing me. But because he's got this rather unique design for most of it, so I've got to. I've got to think very carefully where I do all the lighting on this now. It's really, I know it's kind of the reverse of what I normally do, but it is really tricky to get this lighting right, especially when I've got to do a bit of a darker colour as well in a few areas in a minute. Which I want to do on another layer actually. I'll take this colour and yeah, it was pretty much that colour. Hmm. How come that's so? That'd be why. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Okay. Just make that darker. Actually, need to make that back to where it was. Slightly lighter to add a bit more colour into the piece. This is turning out to be a rather wacky Wildmutt design. For the, at least for the symbiote, it's quite a colourful combination. It's going to look really weird at this stage, and then hopefully it'll come out a bit better. Thinking about it, I wonder how Batman's story would have gone if Jason was voted to live or Dick Grayson died in that warehouse. It could have gone completely the other way, I think. That the more interesting factor for me with stuff like that is oh, I just realised I haven't actually done my select. Add the selection, take off the paint fill. I need that because I need to put a I have this, I call it a Venom texture. It's basically like a halftone pattern texture. But I always drop it over my symbiote bits because it just gives that nice little texture when I get going for what I want. But you don't need it on everything, so it's not going on the eyes, it's just going on the main bulk. I do have some more details to add into this kind of design in a little bit on another layer. So I need that. that way. Um, he also owes me 100k Dempet. Why do I owe you 100k? Who owes you 100k? It's an interesting question, actually. Who owes you 100k, and why did you say it was me? I owe nothing. I owe you nothing. You can take it up with Nexum. He'll sort you out. So I don't know. Well, you're literally responsible for Nexum, right, since you are his creator. Hey, that's like saying you're. Well, no, because he's old enough to be on his own as an adult, so I'm not responsible. I refuse to take responsibility for Nexum and his shenanigans. The response to that is no way, man. No way. Not happening. I am not taking responsibility for Nexum and his shenanigans. Sorry. Not sorry. Nexum owes me the 100 million mechs I ordered. Um, yeah, he might do. He will get to you. He will get back to you in the year 2020 million. Just because I don't know anything about that order, and I will leave Nexum for me to figure that out. I think you guys would bankrupt Nexum. Because that kind of works there, but I might want to. Quite like that actually. Like a black design on that part looks quite cool. I think maybe mech gauntlets, like really big ones, the size of a child. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's. Wait, how do we get onto the size of the child? What we? I'm confused now. I get confused quite easily sometimes, in all fairness. I've lost track of the conversation, what's going on with who's paying who, why. He said mech armors and Nexum, and I'm responsible for him. I'm like, but wait, what? Nah, don't work like that, does it? I do have to say, guys, Ben, you've given me a really good challenge on this to do. I haven't even thought about how the saliva is going to work off the tongue for the venomized version yet. Just thinking about it. That needs to go darker for that bit. I think that's pretty much done, but one more layer. Really, just was really weird doing this lighting on the character. Okay, so this is the basic structure of it, which has got kind of a, I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you like the color scheme we've got going at the moment? I kind of like what we've got here at the moment. I do have to do another layer over the top of the oh, I ran out of layers already. I do like this bit, but I have to do a hmm. I suppose the question is, that purple color, do we have a tertiary color that we can use that would look cool? Do we want the goldeny color, or do we want the green color? What do you reckon? Do you want the gold color or the green color on it? I quite like the green, but here's what you guys think. Looks kind of funky. Let me know in the chat, guys, what you think. Do you want the green color that we've got here, or effectively this goldeny weird green color that we've got here? Actually, I say green. I kind of like the gold one more now. Yeah, we'll go for blue and gold. It's a classic color approach that will work. Also, Dempsey, add me in a new video, damn it. Next yeah, next you will be in a video coming up in the future. I've done a lot of Nexum and Ehrenfold videos, but Dino Dinoclaw and Demonica have been left out on a few, so adding them into one or two and then working the way back up. It's looking quite cool actually now with this kind of like a textury symbiote effect on it. Koi Gaming. Koi you're still here. Nexum, also give me back my armor. Nexum, hang on. Alright, hang on. I've missed a lot of this. So I have stolen Nexum's prize and favorite mech armor. Hey, I ain't paying nobody that ain't saying its slogan in the teeny tiny parlor it says. It's not responsible for his shady shenanigans. There, so leave me alone. Also, give me back my armor. Also, Dempsey. Add me in a new video, damn it. Nexum's read them all. But yeah, no, that's actually it's actually easier for me to go into some of the voices. I really struggled with Ehrenfeld's voice the other day. I tried so hard to get into that cat voice for Ehrenfeld and I failed epically repeatedly. I was like, this is not working no matter what I do. I was getting a little bit worried I couldn't do good old I can't do it now. It's a drink. I really can't do his voice now. I don't know why, I just can't do it. Her good old Enfield Bainsworth. That doesn't even sound like him properly to me. So Ehrenfeld may have a change of voice coming up because I can't remember how I did his voice before, or it's not working. Aye, lad. Just have to see what happens. Total says, hey man, any tips on gaining a following? I just made an Instagram to share my progress and make my own artwork. I would say only use the relevant sort of like hashtags that you want to use. So, for example, don't use like, I think it's more than 8 or 5 on Instagram if you want it to actually get the most reach. Put it on more than one social media, cross-linking back, and think of a target audience that you've got. So if you're doing your artwork and you're thinking of an end user, so for example, some of the videos that do really well are phobias of dragons on the channel. So they're people who have phobias and or want to know about phobias, or people who like dragons. So you could potentially, they're two kind of like target audiences to go for to try and build it up, but also just focus on the sort of like the people, the community that you're trying to build. Take it a step at a time, and yeah, I'd say just keep at it. Consistency is key. You need to be consistent. So if you're posting twice a week on set days, post twice a week on set days. You can do the odd day where it's not the same, but that's far and few between. Don't get into a habit of it. And then just manage their expectations. Also, if you're doing your artwork on Instagram, maybe try multiple pictures of the same picture, but you actually crop in. So you might have the full picture. So in this case, I'd have a full final picture that's probably square like this. Then I'd have another one zoomed in that'd probably focus on the face and the mouth like this, so that you've kind of got this effect where you've got like an impactful piece of the picture. And I'd have the close-up version first, and then your second one will be a slightly zoomed out one. I think those are my top tips for it. Other than that, it's just keep at it and don't be afraid to experiment and see what you can do. Alan Animation says, by the way, I remember there was another character apart from Dino, Darklaw, Nexum, Airford, and Demonica. There's one more. Hero. Hiro. He was the beast tamer that happened. Who will be making a reoccurrence in a redraw at some point, or a story on his own. It will be happening. It's just sorting out, narrowing down the story ideas and the voice actor, because I didn't do Hero's voice. I actually didn't do a narrator on the channel. Shock horror. But yeah, will be quite interesting. I'll have to pull out the old video the actual Beast Tamer community redraw for that. That'll be a good one to do actually. Just be able to check what I actually put in there. Yeah, definitely need to do that at some point. Just double back on a couple of videos and check what I've done. Uh, I appreciate I appreciate the advice. Also, what do you prioritize when venomizing things? I like how do you know how to change up the character to match the venomized final product? Um, I tend to draw the actual character first. So I will draw Wildmutt. In fact, I'll show you in the time lapse on this while we're here. It'll be easier to with an example. So if I go on time lapse replay, I did try a couple of things that failed, but then I decided I would draw a pose for Wildmutt itself. So I go back here. So I've got a Wildmutt kind of like pose in this instance. Then I did another layer and I decided to add the tongue. The main thing about a venomizing anything is the long slimy tongue. If you don't have that, it loses its effect. And then it's just finding out where you want it to go. Now in my case, I like it where the symbiote bits are kind of like crawling up, or part of the character's transformed and another part isn't. And it's just trying to find that balance. So the rule of thirds is brilliant for this, and it's generally if you've got a color on the image, there are there's actually two rules you can use depending on your color scheme. If your color scheme's got two, move that to the end. So if in this instance, if I've got quite a large amount of color, but at least a third of the illustration is the blue for the symbiote, or it's, I think it is. It's very close between the blue and the orange, but at least half to a third of a color for the theme is actually showing, and the other one then provides the contrast. Another rule, depending on how many colors you've got, is if you've got three quite vibrant colors, use the rule 60-30-10. Obviously, the main focus will be the 60, and then the 30 will be your second prominent color, and then you've got 10. In terms of what parts to venomize, just go for what looks cool as you're drawing it. I know it doesn't sound great, but for a bit of advice. But it's just kind of like focus on what you're doing, and then you can add all these extra details. Like if it's a Carnage-based symbiote, it tends to have these slightly different coloured, almost like vein effects in, because Carnage was based off blood. So a symbiote mixing with blood, so it's kind of got the whole red and black on the original Carnage. In this instance, I'm trying to make this one pop a bit more with the colour. So it's going to be the tertiary colours, which Procreate kind of does for you for them. But it's basically find the colour scheme, find what you want, but always make sure you've got the mouth and part of the face kind of half covered, with an eye either showing through or an eye next to it, with what looks like these kind of bits that are like crawling over that you've got here. That kind of like half coming over, half not. They're the key bits that kind of sell the symbiote merging onto the character. Heart. 10 minutes later, scene changes to a knocked out Heart with a giant hammer on top of him with a chest with a mech armor next to him. Oh. Yeah, it's the more you draw, and the more you say if you want to venomize stuff, if you have reference images, they help a lot. Now, because I've done quite a few Venom illustrations on the channel, I've kind of got an idea over time of what to do for the type of symbiote that's being done. So I kind of know roughly how I want to do. The other trick also is to, if you're doing details, is to follow the shape of the pattern. So everything's got like a shape to it. Like on here, if I wanted to do part of this come up here, I have to follow the shape of what's come before it, if that makes sense. Kind of make it look a bit more, it makes it look a bit more realistic, and it kind of sells the piece somewhat more if you've got kind of you fold around the shapes a bit more. Like on this bit here, it looks like it's coming up along here, up there, up to there, which is quite cool. Hopefully that's answered your question on prioritizing what to venomize. I guess it also depends if you're doing a full venomized version where it's the entire body's been changed, or you want to do, or the ones that I find look the best and work really well are the ones that have got like the character underneath. It looks like they're mid transformation. It's always fun to do those ones. I know I've got enough of these. I'm actually going to change the layer blend mode on this. Oh, wow. I am experimenting with color in this illustration, but I think I've just nailed something looking quite cool. What do you guys think? Anybody in the chat, do you like how this is kind of starting to turn out for these kind of colorful effects that we're starting to put into this illustration? And this is before I even add the proper light and shading. This is me just experimenting with the color on this piece. Mechanized doing sandworms. That's going to be a future video at some point if it gets chosen. I still have to finish off the suggestion that you've done, Koi. I do apologize. It's been absolutely ages since you suggested it, and it is on my list, and I have actually got a few things I've tried a couple times to get there, but I haven't quite nailed the pose yet. Yeah, I've gone for more of a, I don't know, it looks quite, it definitely is different to my normal look and feel for a symbiote, which is quite good, but I'm also trying to, I kind of don't want to have too much going on the face. I want it going up to like a, almost like it's kind of trying to connect, but it's not quite covering it all. I think just a really random patch like that. Yeah, that kind of works. Okay, it stands out considering not a lot of symbiotes with, not all symbiotes with dark colors. Yeah, it really threw me when I saw the first like version of Scream in that were like yellow, or the blue and red symbiote, and it's like, but they're all dark or red. It's like not half and half like Toxin and stuff. But it is quite cool. This so obviously a lot of these colors will change over time, but what I'm trying to do is I decided that, well, I didn't actually decide what we're drawing today. The community decided what we're drawing today at the start of the stream, and I thought as we're going along, I would, well, basically try some I was looking at earlier in a YouTube video. Uh, yeah, I learned something on YouTube. But no, I tried it on a YouTube video, and I was quite impressed with how the final effect turned out. It's kind of like this, almost like this pop effect. Um, that works quite well. But these colours that I've laid down before with this kind of like next colour on top of the layer for blend mode, it's actually working really well for a range of colours and a vibrant effect. Blue and orange contrast very well. They do. The purple also helps to blend in on that between the blue and the orange, which is really cool. And then Ben, if they're still in here, suggested having the lighting source coming from the bottom up to make it a bit more menacing, which is working quite nicely. But I don't want to overdo it with these bits in the center. I want to kind of have a couple of these now, and then just, that's it, a couple more, and then we're done. Kind of like that. I want to leave like the center bit kind of darker because that's going to pick up less light at one point. Do I need some texture on the, I might need a bit of texture on here just to, I knew I was missing something. I have completely missed out Oh, this has got to go over the top though. That's fine. I've half missed out. Say completely missed out. I've half missed out. This actually goes above everything else. Kind of gives a bit more of an effect to it for a noise layer. And I have to turn that to a hard light. And then we add a overlay layer. I do need to merge some of these down actually. So top tip of using Procreate, merge them down from the bottom up. Total says, how often do you stream? I like having the platform to ask questions to get tips. Mainly it's most Mondays, to be honest. I will always put a community post out on the channel for when I'm going to do a stream, ideally a day before. Today's one was a little bit, it was this afternoon or this morning at some point I put out that I was streaming just because of the fact that I was a bit late with Friday's video. It fell to yesterday, so I wanted to space things out a little bit. So I wasn't hitting everyone with all the information at the same time. But basically, Mondays is when I stream. I do also have a Discord. So if you join the Discord, if you're old enough to go on Discord, that is, then there are channels on the Discord to ask me a question that you've got access to. Members get a section, another section of the Discord where they can get the artwork for the channel. But you can ask me a question, and when I see it, I will respond to it and reply. You'll have to be patient, just because I do. YouTube's not my full-time job. It's my fun hobby, as it were. No, but yeah, it's just a case of asking questions. Just if you've got a load, just come along to a stream and ask away. I'm always happy to answer them if I can, to the best of my ability. If I don't know something, I will often say, or I will try and find out and answer it. But yeah, it does help having being able to ask questions and bounce them back and forth. I think I want to do a soft light for this one to add to the effect. So in case anyone's wondering, usually I use a hard light, and I'll show you the difference between. So I tend to use a dark color for shadows and a really bright color for the overlays and the highlights of the light areas, and I work with the darker shadows first. So I will basically use a soft light which comes through like that at 100% on the bottom layer, but I did used to use a hard light which is a lot darker, dropped down to about 70. However, I have noticed that if you look here, the hard light, even if it's dropped down to about 70, doesn't really pick up much of the texture. Whereas at 100%, if I use a soft light layer, you've got this really nice kind of selection and pickup of all the grain and the detail underneath, which as you build the lighting layers on top works really, really well. And it's very nice having digital digital tool to use because you can experiment more. Whereas with traditional, you'd go from the lightest colors up to the darkest. It's reversed digitally. You can actually start with the darkest and go down to the lightest, which really do work and help out. And I tend to do my darker shadows are a selection tool with the actual color being filled in, and then all my other layers are a soft brush set to around about 7, maybe between 7 and 20% opacity, and then I swap between the colors on the relevant layers, and it just seems to work really nicely. I will also add the slimy. Should I add that? I'll do the lighting first, and then at the end I'll add extra details on top at the end, like some of the extra lighting effects and that. I will probably be going for about another half an hour, maybe, tiny bit more. I might go till we finish, but it is 12:30 in the morning here. But we'll see. I'm having good fun for this. But now this is where the illustration really starts to kind of like pop and come to life. In fact, I will move the reference image move it down here for now. Make it a bit larger. Just so people can see if they're dipping in and out the rest of the illustration. And all the light's coming from the bottom up, so anything that's on this side is going to be darker than anything that's down there. But that's kind of where I've put my gradients in anyway. So I'll start at the mouth because I can cheat with that because it's going to be really simple to just, even though the light source is coming from the bottom, I can get away with a lot of the mouth being darker in effect. But you'll see shortly where I've got the kind of like the shadows coming in and that, you'll kind of see where it kind of ties in for the mouth. In fact, you probably wouldn't get any light on those, just because of the tongue that's on the inside. And I have found if I want the mouth to be slightly darker as well, I will actually drop in underneath. I'll do a multiply layer, and then I'll colour that in for this bit at the back of the mouth that's usually really dark. So if I want to add a bit more realism or detail, I can drop that in, and then once I've done that, I can just play with the opacity on that layer. I can even, I might want to add a bit more of a purple hue to that in the shadow, which you won't see yet, but it will eventually pop into the illustration. Or I could add a really pink hue to bring it back up a bit, but it just adds that kind of depth and darkness to the layer. Don't be afraid to experiment with colours and stuff when you're doing your illustrations. It's one of the best ways to figure things out and actually find a style, or if you see something someone's done, do a case study. Try and copy what they've done after saving a reference picture of it and building it up, which works really well. Really, the one thing I do like about live streams over some of the overdoing the videos from time to time. And don't get me wrong, I do love doing the actual videos. It's just the ability to zoom in a bit more, and because it's real time, you guys can see it nicely rather than this sped up speed paint version where you've got the interface flickering. I am looking at a way to try and sort that out so that it's either flickering a lot less in the way that I record, or it's potentially a different bit of software, but let's see what happens with that over time. I tend to prefer to use the iPad because it's, as I was saying earlier in the stream, it's a lot easier to go out and about and actually use an iPad, and you know, it's portable, you can take it where you need to go, do what you need to do, and it works really well. I just think it'd be nice to have some ability to record like everything but the interface layer. So what everything you're doing gets recorded from in the software from the layers without being there. I think if a software application did that, loads of people would want it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on a layer at a time. So I'm going to do all the main, kind of all the main shadow bits on here where I think they would be. And then we can start to see the aspects of where this is going to start really having a nice effect. Because once the background's done, and I could even add, if I don't feel this is dark enough, I could turn it to a hard light, to be honest. But what I usually would tend to do is duplicate the layer and then just adjust the opacity so it just emphasizes it at the end, which works really well. Total says, I do my art on my iPad and my work always turns out kind of pixelated. Do you know how to fix that? I've upped the pixel count to do. If you're doing your art on the iPad, I find that having it at about 300 dpi will solve a lot of the clarity issues. So in terms of this canvas itself, if I get the information out for you, dimensions, I'm using basically A2 size because my iPad can handle it, but the DPI is always at 300 DPI for print. You'll find that whenever you save anything out from that, it won't be pixelated if it's at least 300 DPI. The only thing to bear in mind is if you're using, depending on the software you're using as well. But if you, if you've got your software and you've got your dimensions, I mean, hopefully you're using Procreate or something similar to what I'm using. But just don't check the DPI is like 300 is the key thing. And yeah, it's just a case of take it from there. It also depends on the brushes you use. Like I've got an ink set from Ram Studios. I got this comic inker set. I think it was something like £10 or $10, and it was really useful. I've been using it ever since, and it just works so well for the black lines, the line art, and some of the other stuff. But yeah, it's just a case of just double check your settings. I definitely think it's probably going to be DPI. So even though you've upped the pixel count, the DPI is probably still not high enough for it to be able to pick up properly. And Adult Animations asks, by the way, are you also going to add a cell shade? Oh, do you mean like a cell shaded rendering for some areas? Possibly. I mean, some areas will naturally pick up kind of like a natural one as I'm going through it because of the fact of the bits that they're on. Bear with me, guys. I just need to swap the earpiece a minute just to make sure the microphone still works. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. Let me know if the volume, my audio cuts off or anything. It should be connected. I'm assuming it's connected. I think it's connected. Famous last words. Yeah, double check the DPI settings that you're using on your software, which is your dots per inch. The higher the dots per inch, the higher the resolution. Just most software won't support more than 300 to 400 without losing a lot of layers on the iPad. But hopefully that should sort it. Also depends how much space you've got on your iPad to what you can actually have your layer amount at. Right, so I'm going to go that way. This is probably the hardest part for me to actually do any detail on is the tongue for Wildmutt. I don't want to make it look like a tongue, but I'm going to add a load of detail on later, which should make it look really venomized. The other trick to do is try not to make things too much of a regular pattern. I say after I've done that on his tongue, making it look pattern. Not a problem at all. yeah, just drop into a stream anytime and just ask for some advice if I'm streaming, usually on a Monday. Thank you for joining, and yeah, keep an eye out on the community tab because once this is done, I will post a final picture of it there. Ooh, venomy tongue, always good fun. Who have we got left? I know Koi's lurking in the background somewhere. He's always lurking in the background. Ooh, but actually sort that a second. So guys, if I don't sort this, I either have no heating or no electric. Sorted. Sorry guys, had to get a drink for a second there. Being sat in front of the screen with the monitors and the iPads and the heat, kind of need to make sure I'm hydrated. Nothing worse than not being hydrated and being parched in the middle of a stream. I quite like how that's starting to look now on this layer. Oh, not getting enough from the studio. Hopefully the stream hasn't lagged or anything for you guys. Let me know if it has lagged. That would be the internet connection, potentially. It should come back in a second, hopefully. He says, fingers crossed. Sometimes YouTube Studio will say about connection error not receiving enough, and then it kind of lags. But hopefully you guys have seen it. So do me a favor, guys, in the chat, can you let me know if you're receiving the connection okay, or you're receiving something, you can hear me or something, just so I know, because I'm a bit oblivious at the moment unless I stop what I'm doing and I have a look on a browser or something, load the stream up and see where we're at. It might have fixed itself actually by this point. So yeah, if it's lagging, hopefully it's not lagging too badly. So this is going to be interesting. I kind of want it to be. You would get some shadow at that point, because even though the light's over the main bulk, this would work. Woodwork. It's not woodwork. We're making an actual illustration. Yes, I know, but it's illustration. Would work. No, the lighting should end up tying in quite nicely to what we've got here. Oh, that looks quite nice actually. That's looking really nice at the moment. I'm really enjoying how this is turning out. Not sure who we've got left in the chat or who we've got about, but if you like how this is turning out or you got any questions to ask, let me know. Don't forget also like the video if you can. It does help share it out there. I know it's getting a bit late and we've probably got a flurry of people coming in and going out, or a flurry of people not actually here on the stream. But I'm definitely going to be going for a little while longer. Yeah, sorting out the light going in a different direction to what I'm used to doing is really, really weird. Hey Justin, welcome back. You're just in time to see where we got to so far on this, which is turning out rather nice actually. It's just so I was just saying to myself, rambling to myself, muttering to myself. It's one of those weird ones where get so far with the design, it's like, yeah, this is great, and then at the same time you're like, yeah, this is great. Who's left? We just had a short dip of the internet, so trying to find out if anybody. Well, well, can you actually hear me? Okay, my voice is probably going a bit funny, but can you hear me fine? Is everything still coming in loud and clear? Hopefully it is. Tegan's still here. Cool, awesome. How's your art been going, Tegan? If it's okay to ask, I know you when I first started streaming, you were asking quite a few questions, and you seem to ask less questions nowadays, which I'm hoping is a good sign. It's either that or I've got some really bad advice, and I apologize now for it. No, I'm I'm messing. It's just wondering if anyone's got any questions or anything, just to add some extra info on this while I'm working on these rather interesting but venomizy layers. Venomizy layers. That's a new term. Oh, you know what I never did in this entire illustration, which is probably going to bug me now. That looks a bit odd. I haven't flipped the canvas, and I've just flipped the canvas and realised I might need to actually move a few bits of the layers around a little bit later. I'll do that on the final illustration because it looks really cool that way, but when I flip it, it looks a bit odd. But that's fine. We can sort that bit out a little bit later. I want to just... I kind of want to just take all that and just go like that. Just kind of add a... Okay, that's that layer done. So now onto this layer, which means we turn the... This is the easiest layer of all to do, is my second light, which is about 50% of the soft lighting. And all I'm doing is emphasizing where I want the shadows more by using an airbrush. It sets that opacity so I can just build it up. I might actually make that solider. Build it up and I can just emphasize more some of the more shaded areas I want to do. And usually I tend to go over a lot of it, even the lighter areas with this, just to add a bit more contrast is the key thing. What we want to do is we want to add contrast to the illustration so that the main bulk of it stands out, so that now that I come to this layer with the bright light, when we come into stuff like on the overlay layer, the face, if I say I wanted this entire area to be done, then I can just do that and just make it a bit brighter and add a few more bits. But then I can also focus on with this tool. That allows me to focus the light in the direction I want. Potentially cause a gradient, which is quite cool. I feel like this looks like it could be something from a comic or a, yeah, from a comic, which is quite cool. I like the way that it's got this look and feel to it. Just got to figure out all of the lighting aspects. because technically speaking, that should be darker across the top of the tongue. I'm going to add some extra light in some areas. Kind of now I'm going to add a lot of extra light onto the tongue in areas where you wouldn't normally see it. Just because I want to emphasize the saliva on the top afterwards. It's going to pick up a fair bit of light too. Oh, that's actually looking quite nice. It's always nice when you start working on something and it just starts coming together nicely when you're at the rendering stages. And I've asked numerous artists before and people that do illustrations, and you kind of get the same thing. They'll try to be humble and modest, but there's a point where you're working on a section of the illustration like I am now, and you start adding bits for the details and everything, and you start looking at it and you're thinking, damn, this is starting to look really good. And you're not trying to be like, oh yeah, my artwork's great. It's just you're looking at it and you're going, this is starting to look really good. Didn't catch what I said. Which bit? The bit asking how your art was going, or the bit where I've just been rambling on about the tongue and everything else happening on this illustration? Just so I know which bit I've got to, say again. But I was just talking about the fact that a lot of YouTubers that I've spoken to or artists in the community have often said that they're being humble. But we've all got a point where it's kind of oh, your art's going fine, cool. And we've got a point where we are we look at an illustration that we've been working on and we're like, damn, that looks good. So for this, I'm actually, because the way this illustration is, I don't have to do a lot of the extra details on the where it's lighter. The contrast will come from other aspects, so I can kind of get away with just blasting it with light at some points. But this is going to be the interesting bit. This bit is where I have to be, so I've got to be more selective. I've got to be a bit more cautious using the add layer. It's kind of like a major glow layer, but yeah, might have to drop the opacity slightly on that there actually. This is the layer that adds the extra level to it for the tongue and the details before I add this saliva. It's probably the best way to describe it. Yeah, saliva. This is the best way to describe it. It's the actual word for it, saliva. I wonder how this is going to work. Just get a few bits here. So we got a few shiny bits along here. Okay, so now I've done this right. Okay, I do have no flares, that's fine. I need to find a colour for the tongue, the saliva. That'll do. Hey, Openheart, glad you're still here as well. I'm about to make this look a bit more creepier now. This is the fun part. It's where you're adding all the extra details at the end. So for this one, it's the literal pool of saliva coming off the mouth. It kind of looks gross, but it'll be really cool at the end. Hey, animations! Are you liking how this one's starting to turn out? It's really getting there on the effect. Thank you. This is the bit where I'm concentrating and I'm really silent. Everyone's like, why is it so quiet? Has he lost audio? No, I've not lost audio. Just a nice, slimy, venomized tongue. If anything screams like a venomized creature, it's the tongue. To do that, you need to have the appropriate level of saliva and yeah. Just need the tongue to look like it's able to just make you want to cry. Cool. So the trick with this is to actually duplicate the layer. Take the bottom layer, Gaussian blur it, and I'll zoom in so you can see. So you Gaussian blur it a bit so you get this glow, which looks really nice. And then you want to turn that top layer off. Do a mask. Make sure you've got an airbrush tool and it's quite low, it's quite small on its size, and you've got the opacity at some point. And just take bits out bit by bit. Now the trick for this is to just imagine only some bits are coming out. You want to make it look kind of almost like ghosty. You just want to take a few bits out here and there to make them a bit diverse, but do it randomly. So you've got these probably these sort of like pools of where the droplets go, which you definitely want to take, but you also want to take a bit out the top of these as well. Drop the opacity if you want to a little bit. And you do the same on the next layer up, but you duplicate that layer before you do it. And once you do it and you combine them all, you start building up this kind of like mixture of transparent and non-transparent elements. But you always want to keep that one of the layers normal because you want to add some shadows too. It'll just add to the whole effect. So I've done this one. Now I'm going to actually merge that down. So I've got that. I'll duplicate that layer because I want to keep one and I'll lock that. So for this one, I'm actually going to duplicate it twice. The first one I'm going to set to effectively multiply, and then what I want to do is I just want to shift it off ever so slightly, and then drop the opacity down a bit. The next one on top is going to be a mask, and because it's a mask layer, we can then start taking these bits out. And as you can kind of see, the details kind of working a bit more on this now. So it's popping out the picture a bit more, but it's also working quite nicely for the salivary bits. And you want to think about where it would be thinner, or you might want it to blend a little bit to go lighter. You can always change the color of this afterwards, blend all the layers down and change it, or you can have the colors different, but I want it to make the colors kind of pop a bit. You kind of want it to be slimy, like just, I don't know, just like a massive build up of the saliva to make it just feel really slimy and creepy and venomy, disgusting type. Cross between like an ectoplasmic goo and the saliva to just make it stand out really well. And obviously, if you know where the light source is coming from, you can play with it a bit more to these bits down here. If the light source is coming from the bottom, it's kind of going to be brighter. So then I can duplicate that there again. Obviously, merge down our mask onto a layer, unlock it, turn that layer on, and this time we want to make it kind of like an add layer, and then just drop it. Actually, no, we don't need to drop it. We'll just do the mask again, and it'll start really joining along with the teeth that you get to see. You just want to kind of because I know where the light's coming from. There will be some transparent bits around where the light is, but I'm basically thinking at this point where I've added the add layer, I would like to come from the bottom up for the illustration. So all the shadows and potentially darker bits that may be more transparent will be on the top half of any of the pictures. But because I've done the bits underneath, I can happily just take bits out now and make this kind of look more liquidy, which works really nicely. And it's quite nice to see the iteration code together. And if I don't like the color afterwards, I can either merge the layers down and add like a kind of like a color overlay, or I can just change the hue and saturation of the layers once they're merged, or a particular layer. So this might look a bit too bluey green. And for example, these kind of would be potentially would be dark, even though they would get some of the highlight. Potentially some of these areas would just be darker in general. You kind of get this really like epic effect here. I feel I need to duplicate that layer to just make it darker and drop that down. That also needs to be duplicated and then probably left there actually. So you've kind of got this effect. I want to also that's a bit of that better. So merge that down and then duplicate that. Just finding the right layer effect as you go through for what you want. I don't want it too much brighter, just a little bit. And then this add layer, I actually want to add a few Just a few highlighted points. And my favorite part is actually coming back down to the bottom here, making this into a color dodge layer, finding one of the darker colors while you've got this on. Make sure you're on kind of like a low bit and you've got a larger brush. And just depending on which color you've got, I might have to change this back to classic. Usually you can just emphasize certain colors a bit more, or you can add more. You can drop a hint of another color in there. In fact, this brush might be better for it than the other one. Just dropping a hint of the bit of colors into the shadows around the back to pick them out a bit, but keep them quite dark. And you can emphasize some of the other bits. So I'll go to a darker purple, which actually lightens it up. The lighter colors make it actually, well, they don't always make it darker, but some of the darker colors work nicely over these bits, just to blend a few aspects in. It's looking really cool. Noxy clearly missed something. Would that be half the stream, or were you from being quietly in the background, just like, wow? But no, this is turning out quite nice. I want to add a bit of yeah, add that as an add layer. Kind of want to do a fur style layer. See how that looks if I. That's what's missing. Missing a little bit of depth on some of these fur bits with the highlights. Right. The fur on the head, the trick for it is probably going to be to follow the basic design for the head this way, isn't it? No, it's going to be the swirl effect from there. So this is going to go, that's the middle bit there. That's going to go, I believe that's right. And that fur would eventually come back to be that way. Will it just be, I think this is how the lighting's supposed to work on this bit. Kind of get the fur to come Wild. No worries. There's a really weird one to do manually, so like drawing it in yourself, but I don't want to do too many layers of fur that might be close together. I just want to do enough to give an impression of, you know, having fur. It doesn't even have to be perfect, it's just got to be enough to say, hey, is that fur? Yes, it looks like it. And because it is fur, it just picks up the specular light in certain areas in the shadows to kind of add to that effect. Might have to turn this just to make sure I get the angles kind of right. I wonder how many we have left looking at our Wildmutt with his rather funky fur design. We've got a couple left, which is always good to see. But yeah, just kind of wanting to get this so close to getting this done, kind of for the main bulk of it. And I'll just make sure I finish this off on the stream, to be honest. I'm going on 3 hours. Oh, that's not too bad, 3 hours. Either the connection went or we've lost 5 likes on this video. No idea. Never mind. We're working on quite a cool illustration. Anybody dropping in or dipping in and out of the stream, hi. If you're there, feel free to say hello and ask a question if you want to ask a question about anything. Always happy to give art tips, talk about stuff on the channel, talk about art in general, really. And just have some fun. Nice chill stream. Usually I have music, but I don't have it on today. Thought I'd just go back old school and we'll just see what happens. those that have dipped in and out and I haven't been talking, I do apologise. I've been focusing on some of the little details on this piece, and that's kind of done that. So we've done this. So I need to have background sorted now. So, oh, matte layers to the background. Okay, so this is where the fun bit starts. So I want to, wow, drew that on that there. Cool. Merge that down. Merge that down. Merge that mask. Merge that down. I can delete that one. And we've got some layers back now. So we can actually do some fun stuff with this. So we can create more of a background. I shall zoom out a little bit so we can see the rest of the background because I want to do a bit darker. Jump onto that layer and we'll make a lighter colour. That's fine. Because I want to do a what do I want to do for the colour? It's going to be bright underneath them. It's going to have to be quite bright there. Darker. I think the whole background should be that colour. And that could be potentially underneath that there. We can add I think this background needs to just be I think what I want to be on here. There's a oh that's nice. That's kind of even nicer. I quite like that. What do you guys think? Anybody in the chat still about? I quite like the effect that I've got here. I need to add another layer over the top of the everything. Just need to really just go mental with a light pen down here and just go. Nearly there. I like that how it is now. Might have to add a small effect. I think we're almost there at this one. But I do think that might still be a bit bright behind it. Welcome back again, Alien Animations, and thank you. I'm thinking that's probably about it on this one. I don't want to do too much more or anything that'll take away from the actual effect. I do think though that there's probably maybe a colour that will work better in the background. Just to kind of trying to find the right contrast between light source coming from the bottom to make it look creepy, but give enough detail that it's not breaking everything. I think maybe that's probably a nice level to have it where we've got that element here. I might need to just hang on a minute. Yeah, I think that'll do. I think that works quite nicely for this one. I'm not sure how many people are left, but I think that's where we're going to leave it for our Wildmutt Venomized, which I think looks pretty cool. I do like the contrast. It's kind of like got the creepy kind of like dark vibe to it. Really pleased with this one. So, hey Ben, you still there? Cool. Yeah, this one came out really well. I really like the contrast of colours in the end with the like the bits popping out for the almost like the veins on this one and the different colour bits. So it looks really good and came out really well. And that's the final effect. The lights weren't quite straight square up; they're at a bit of an angle, but it looks more like it's maybe detected the heat of something as it's venomizing, which is, again, still quite cool. Um, yes, your lighting suggestion worked very well. I'm really pleased with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a night unless anyone's got any urgent questions. We have been going for about 3 hours, 20 minutes, which is quite cool. But if you've not got any questions, then I will call it a night since it's about 1:30 in the morning here. And there will be a video on Friday, which is currently planned to be the mermaid video. So something fun with mermaids and that. And then Monday is going to be the community redraw. But thank you everybody for watching, and I'll catch you next time.